I, 34M, work in a physically demanding field, and my coworkers and I are all in great shape, with not much variety in body types. My wife, 32F, is overweight, and she always has been. When we started dating and got married, she was already on the heavier side. She's aware of her size, and I think she's beautiful no matter what. I'm happy if she loses weight, but I'm also happy if she stays as she is now. Recently, one of my coworkers, Jane, 28F, was saying she feels like she's too far from being loved and that fat people can't find love. Jane isn't fat, she probably weighs around 120 pounds, works out 5 times a week, and eats very little. I disagreed and told her that wasn't true, mentioning my wife as an example. Jane became upset and told me I wasn't allowed to call my wife fat, claiming it was an insult. She insisted my wife was beautiful and curvy, but the thing is, my wife doesn't like being called curvy. She feels it's just a euphemism used to avoid saying fat, which many people consider offensive. I explained this to Jane. Jane then threatened to message my wife and tell her I had called her fat. To avoid that, I called my wife first, put her on speaker, and asked if she preferred being called curvy or fat. My wife laughed and said, "I can't stand that curvy stuff. Fat and beautiful, baby." I thanked her, told her I loved her, and hung up. As soon as I ended the call, Jane freaked out. She started screaming that I was abusing my wife and trying to brainwash her into accepting the word fat so she wouldn't leave me. Jane claimed that no woman in her right mind would be okay with their husband calling them fat. To back up my point, I showed Jane a photo of my wife wearing a shirt that says BBW, which my wife bought herself. Jane stormed off and hasn't spoken to me since. Today, I received an email from HR requesting a meeting. I don't think it's a big deal, I've got my wife's fat positive blog, the shirt, and I can easily call her to confirm. But now the work atmosphere is tense, and Jane gives me dirty looks when we're in the same room, though she ignores me otherwise. So now I'm wondering, AITA for calling my wife fat?